Alright, so this is the first time in a while I'm doing one of these, I was about to say Facebook, YouTube. It's not even live. You could just hit the button and just record. YouTube been doing a lot of recreation and shit. Appreciate that. Anywho, so we're here on part 2 of the time travel investigation, y'all. Congratulations. We're at part 2 of this shit. So this was gonna be a little crazier. So, first of all, I want to talk about God a little bit more in depth in what a God's prophet would be, and there are some people who can spiritually see the future, and God gives you that like, oh my God, like this is something that could happen in the future, but it's just like doesn't say it exactly. You know what I mean? And I believe that God is one of the only people who really has that power to change time, so to speak. If you do get the technology, whatever. All right, whatever. Somebody figured out something. Okay, great. At the same time, it's like, uh-oh. What do you do, right? Better figure this shit out before somebody gets ahead of you, right? Anywho, so that was God's prophet. So aliens versus time travel. There's this little conspiracy floating around where aliens and time travel are going to be revealed at the same time. At the same time, what's really going on is time travel has already been a thing. It's already been a thing. It's like very common knowledge. Nobody believes it's possible, but we all have heard of this shit. Tell me if you haven't, you know what I mean? The time machine from freaking 1500s and shit, you know what I mean? Like, we've all heard of this shit, and nobody wants to do the shit because it might be a little too much electricity to float through. It might be a little bit, I don't even want to go into the different methods of it, but from what I understand, it's a possibility that if there are aliens involved in time travel, they are just descended from humans. And that's where things get a little bit too sketchy, you know what I mean? It's like there's no way out of this, planet, but they're like at the edge, They're at the edge. Either at the edge of the planet or the edge of the solar system. That's another thing. That's a whole nother genre of, positive light, so to speak, about the whole thing. And let's just say if let's say us, we have this ability to time travel. Well, all we can do is time travel and space travel, basically. And we're pretty freaking smart, to be honest. We have some pretty good brain power or whatever. We've been able to self-sustain and blah, 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 blah. And we see this one little planet that's kind of like, it was a very good planet. What happened to this one? Oh my God. What can we do to help either change the course of a negative history or save whatever we can? You know what I mean? It's either one or the other. You know what I mean? So it's like, to throw the technology at us, technically, Lord knows we got our own versions of time travel. You know this shit. But theirs is probably a lot more efficient. You know what I'm saying? Theirs is like, okay, well, y'all can do that. Well, we can go through space probably farther than you can and sustain life while we're out there. What can you do? Oh, we can make a couple bots that could do that shit. This is, you know what I mean? That's when we get to the whole, I ain't going there with the artificial intelligence yet, but now the time travel babies still got the notes and shit. From what I understand, interspecies is very, very impossible if they do it naturally. Supernaturally or scientifically, it becomes like these hybrids and stuff that can easily be clones. See. And that's where the whole thing of, slicing genes and shit like that and being able to, incubate a whole freaking human being becomes possible, possibly. Don't know what time that is, but I'm just saying. I have no fucking clue. I'm just saying, drinking a little, shit. I'm all out of that liquor, by the way, but it took a couple days. It took a couple days. I did that time travel to get through that shit. So My only fear is the whole microchip thing thus far. Now, don't get me wrong. If you test this shit out on like autistic people, deaf people, you know, mentally, we're gonna say special, but mentally, you know, the R word, basically, you know, aura, or insane people. Yeah, that's another thing. Insane people. We're gonna just throw that shit out there on purpose. And you test this shit out, looking at my time, and you test this shit out on these motherfuckers, like, oh my god, if it works, that's a whole nother level. The least you could do is not put that shit in the goddamn AI. But then again, there probably was to help that shit work. You know what I mean? There's a whole kind of different shit with that one. And another thing that's about, and that's a form of nanotech. You know what I mean? Then you open up that door. So it's like these things, for it to be able to radio wave frequency your whole mind into the internet, it's mind blowing, yet at a certain time frame in human existence, the shit might just be possible. We can't get off of fucking cell phones, and you need something. Now you need your hand. You know, you need a chip in the hand. You need a chip in the brain. Sound familiar? Yeah, it sounds very fucking familiar. And I don't want any marks. We go from the mark of the beast to this microchip thing now. You know, I don't know what it's gonna be next. You know what I mean? Thus far, I don't think anybody's worshiping anything when it happens. You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine paying tithes and offerings with a damn microchip? Like, could you imagine? Like, that's how real this shit got with these motherfuckers. And it's like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, we have cards, we have cash for now. You know, the cash is probably going to be a lot more valuable when it's not usable. You know what I mean? When you can't really use cash, they're using everything else. It's like, that's how money works, you know? Listen, if you found a Roman coin right now, do you know how much that shit is worth? A real authentic, they traced it back, preferably silver. You know what I mean? We want to get the silver one. If it's gold, it's a wrap. If it's gold, you can do so much with that shit. You know what I mean? You just sell that to a museum. Well, how much you getting? Nothing less than 500 grand. You know what I mean? I'm down talking shit. It could be a lot more than that. I don't know. They probably might pay you 10 G's, but hey, at the end of the day, if it's authentic and proves authentic, shit, you might as well just hold on to that motherfucker on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Don't even give it to anybody. Like, it's probably that expensive. That's where you get things that are priceless, timeless, and how can I say this? And you just can't touch this shit and are untouchable. Right. Sacred. You know, secrecy. Father Time. I believe in Father Time. I believe he's the guy that sits in this clockwork. It's this house of clocks. And through each clock, he sees everything that's happening. You know what I mean? He can change back the clock. He can flip the clock. He loves the clocks. He makes clocks. He makes time. He makes time for other people. You know what I mean? He makes time for other existences and so on and so forth. He is existence because he is time. This is this guy, you know? Now, at the end of the day, like, does it matter? I'll put it this way. There is a God, and when Father Time is sitting there looking at all these clocks, it's like he's watching how many of these clocks are bending. I just throw it that I just put it out there, you know. Like, he's watching how many clocks are bending. Like, you see there's a clock bending, he's gonna look at that clock. You might just have to fix that clock. And if he sees too many clocks bending, you might just go to your time saying, "What the fuck are you doing? Are you time traveling, bruh? What you doing?" You know, you don't want that problem, you know? You don't want that problem. So, with that said, nanotech is different ways of, like, if, I'll put it this way. Imagine a computer to be the size of a microchip. So now all you need is a microchip to have a computer. It's that simple. You know what I mean? It's like the Capsule Corporation. You make things super duper smaller, you know, all of a sudden it's like, you can carry around so much shit and so much information at one time. it's still creeping me out though, because I'm a Bible reader. You know what I mean? I got to the end of I got to the end of the book. You know, so it's like, but that could be completely convenient. I put it this way: I'll limit y'all to about 6 doggone microchips. How about that? All right, 6 of them. You know what I mean? You get 6 rigs, you get 6 microchips. All right, it's that simple. Now, so we're going from there to terraforming the Milky Way. Oh my God, holy shit! So how many different ways could you do such a thing? It's a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways. Well, first of all, you would need the essentials. You know, a way to make oxygen, a way to make the climate a certain way, and a way to live in that climate for a certain amount of time. You also need certain substance like food. What are you gonna have for food? You might not really be eating food. You might be just taking a pill or two. You don't know. And last but not least, you know, ways to reproduce, not just reproduce, but re-terraform, as in you want to make the place expand. You want to go from this one place to the next place. You want to have like and then you have cities and cities and cities and cities and cities, and next thing you know, this whole planet is yours. You know what I mean? It's it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna stop right there, just cause I know the time is short, and I'm saying a lot of ill shit. It's about 11 minutes. Next time, I'm going to talk about regeneration technology and dimensions. Yeah, we're going to get all up in that Mandela effect. Mandela! Mandela! Yeah, you know, we're going to get all up in that. So with that said, y'all have a good night. And, have a good time. Peace. Peace out.